Hi guys. Hi guys. Yeah, so today I'm going to do a little bit of a syncretism, but I'm going to talk about other things as well. I'm going to talk about water because I had an amazing experience in the sea the other day. It was kind of raining, there was hardly anyone about, and I just started to get out where I couldn't see anybody, and it was a little bit grey, and the sea had two different colours, and I just felt really supported by the mother, by the water. I felt like, oh, I wish, I could just swim without getting tired, or just keep swimming for hours on hours, all on my own in this amazing blue with all the waves, I don't know, it felt like magnetic, I felt like I became the water. But saying that, I don't think, that's just me, I don't really think that oceans used to exist. I think we used to have rivers, four main rivers from Shambhala in the middle, separated by four different continents, with the four root races. In the east are the Asian people, the yellow people, and they were meant to look after the element of fire. But before I start on that, actually, what I believe is that what we know as oceans on seas is because of all the resets on the floods. It flooded our earth, with so much water that it created oceans, and the salt in the water is from all the petrified bodies that started to, I don't know what's the word, to sort of frit away, become salt on sand and so on. But I don't think they were originally there on Earth. And don't forget, Earth is an anagram of heart. Yeah, green, which is also why I believe that the sun, which is completely incoherent light, it is completely. There's only two coherent light, which is laser, and also if you do a slit experiment with the slit, you can make light more coherent. But that's another subject for later. What I really think is that, the earth is the heart, but the heart is also the tree of life, which is green, yeah? And the main color here for us is, we need all colors, but green is the most important to not so much eat, because we're not meant to really eat green, because we're meant to eat fruit, and most fruits are green, but we're meant to have filtered green light. Because when you have sunlight without any trees around, it's very harsh, like I'm in Mexico right now, and in the summer, all the tourists leave, it gets way above 40 degrees here, and I'm sure the Mexicans, it's hot for them, we're not meant to get this direct sunlight. We're meant to get filtered light through the green leaves, then we get all that, then it really activates our heart chakra. This is what I absolutely am convinced of, I might be wrong, but this is what I feel, this is what I feel is right. But anyway, to come back to the four continents on the four root races. So the Asian race, or the Chinese in the East, were given the element of fire to look after. It was misused. They invented gunpowder and other things. Then in the north are the whites, and because I'm a mongrel, but okay. So the whites in the north were given the element of air to look after, and of course it's been misused as well. I'm not saying the whites misused the element. I'm not saying that the Asians misuse their own element. There may be some parasites on Earth that made us do that, or did that for us, yeah? But, through geoengineering, chemtrailing our sky, polluted air more than anywhere else, in the north. Then I might be wrong in the other two, because I think I'll have to recheck it, because it's something I studied ages ago, and I would need to find it again. But I believe, if I remember well, that the West, talking about the Americas, where the native Indians are, which, funny enough, the native Indians, I'm in Mexico now, and sometimes I feel like I'm in India, because a lot of the people here look like red Indians, And there's been a lot of movements of people for thousands of years. There's nothing new. So I'm sure some of the original Indian people from here were sent to what is now known as India, and some Chinese people also were sent to, to America. And this is why when I look at some of the tribes here, because there's two different types of Mexicans. There's those that, they look Mexican, a little bit red Indian, Then you get some that really look like they've got a bit of Chinese in them. It's I don't know, it's kind of weird. So to me, it looks like some of these tribes, they were mixed between the red Indians and the Chinese, and that's why they look the way they do. And up north in North America, I think it was most probably white people mixing with red people to get what we have now as well. Anyway, it's nor here nor there, but there's been a lot of race mixing, which there's nothing wrong in it in itself. It's just that when you come from a different culture, it's very hard to have a relationship with someone that has a completely different culture from you. And most of the time it doesn't work, And then, let's say you're from Mexico, and then and then your boyfriend is from Russia, where you're gonna leave, you're gonna leave your family behind, and so this where, to me, race mixing goes wrong. It has nothing to do with the colors, of what we are, but it's just that our cultures are so different. I mean, again, someone from Africa, like deep in the tribes in Africa, goes out with a white woman, and it never works. Inevitably, it fails, because I've never. I mean, so far. I mean, there may be some occasions where it works, but I'm yet to see them myself. This is why, the mixing of cultures is beautiful to have all these different cultures. Why do you want to mix them? They're just beautiful as they are, That's me anyway, and I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so in the West, the Native Americans, I can never remember whether they were given water or earth, but I think it was earth, So that's been misused as well, because, earth has been misused as well, completely. I mean, look at all the wars, look at all the movements of the plates on earth and everything. That, again, somebody is doing that. This is not natural. I'm sorry to say, all this is purposely done, there are no real... tsunamis never do not exist. It's bullshit. It's always man-made. They have machines that can create waves, on ripples, and so that hundreds of feet wave on stuff. So basically, Earth has been misused as well. And then in the South, like Africa, you got the black peoples, and they were given then the element of water. But it might be the other way around. I can never remember whether the native Indians are actually water, and then the black people are earth. It might be that, but I think it's what I'm saying, but it might be the other way around. And of course, water is completely polluted. I mean, earth is polluted, water is polluted. So so we've misused, the elements that we were given to look after, And anyway, yeah. And Earth, is, to me, is not, what we think it is, like all the mountains and all that. All these are just petrified beings on petrified trees. So the Earth, really, to me, is a tree. Originally, there would have been 4 continents, one big tree in the middle where everybody meets, maybe once a year. I think that it could have been something like that. And then there's 4 other main big trees for the 4 different root races. But when I say trees, they were humongous. I mean, you're talking about trees that were like so fucking huge, and then developed into another tree and another tree. And to me, like, if we lived in trees, we want monkeys, it's all bullshit. But the trees would have been so big, it would have been accommodating us to even sleep in a leaf or something, Or maybe the animals lived down on the grass, by the river, but we kind of lived in the trees, And I've always had this idea that, that when we die, we give our bodies as an offering to the big wild cats, so that they never, maybe like that. Or we never used to eat. There's that as well. Maybe we never used to eat. It is quite possible when we talk about breatharianism, because of the lack of magnetism at the moment on this plane. Maybe it's harder for us, but if you look at Tartaria, for sure, like if you look at the buildings, there is no toilet. And even bathrooms, I think, because they had all this technology that that was basically giving you enough energy not to have to eat. You know, there's something about like the umbrellas, like we were flying with the umbrellas, they were able to plug in to places, and, you know, because basically, you know, energy can be gotten different ways, not just through food. And, you know, breatharianism is a thing. I have lived in a breatharian community in Brazil, you know, a few years back, over 10 years ago. And so, yeah, so we don't need to eat. Anyway, let's do a little bit of... yeah, so what I was going, let me finish on that. So the tree, you know, is the earth to me. You know, that the tree is earth. You know, like earth is nature. Anything that is nature, we are earth. Trees are earth. But, you know, all the petrified beings, well, they are the earth as well. It's just that they're dead earth. You know, or petrified earth. So I don't think originally, obviously, nothing would have been petrified on earth originally, and we would have had 4 rivers separating the 4 different continents. So it wouldn't never have been salty water, you know. And when it rained, it wasn't really rain. It was like a sort of mist. They always say it was a kind of mist that descended upon us, you know. And this is where I wanted to come to the word mist. It has the sounds in it, you know, which is when you spray something. And mist in reverse is steam, you know. So that's another, you know, like you can play with the words. I mean, etymology is just absolutely amazing, you know. I've been doing lexigramming since I was 21. I've been reading Greek mythology since I was 7, 8. And I've always been fascinated, and I've read everything that you can imagine. And I'm still reading them now, you know, things I didn't have a chance to read when I was a child, but Ulysses' travels, you know, everything about the Greek gods. Oh my God, I knew all of that when I was very young. So... So yeah, now I'm coming to my second ayahuasca journey. I had, which was like 12 years ago now, I had an amazing, or 13 years ago, I had an amazing revelation where some voice was telling me, oh yeah, look, you know, Jesus. And I thought, yeah, Jesus. And then it went in Spanish, Jesus. Yeah, and then I thought, yeah, and it was like, yeah, you get it? And I was like, oh yeah, I get it. Like Jesus is Jesus in Spanish, but it also means I am. I am. And in French is je suis means I am, and Jésus is Jesus. So basically it's the same thing. When you say Jesus, you're saying I am, and when you're saying I am, you're saying Jesus. It's your eternal I am presence. And then I had a revelation about Maria, because that was back in 2004. Like Ma is the root for matter, mother, the silent M, and it's anything to do with water as well. Like mare is water, mar is water, marina. That's the, you know, it's all connected to water. And I thought, yeah, but where does Rhea come from? And I thought, yeah, the Greek goddess Rhea, which is the goddess of earth. So Maria is the perfect name for the divine feminine, because you get both Mar, the water, and Rhea, the earth. And earth and water are both feminine. So yeah, so basically I just I do a very quick little syncretist video. Yeah, so, you know, I do think the green is very important. I think, you know, we are meant to go through the green door. So I'm not saying don't drink green juices and all that. Of course, it's good for you. But that is, when you're not well, you would have plants, you would have herbs, you know, they're green, you know, because that means you're probably liking green in other ways. So I think, you know, to get direct sunlight is not good for us. I don't think direct sunlight is good for us. When it's filtered, you know, through the trees, you know, you get the reflection mainly of the green. I mean, green is the heart chakra, isn't it? So that's the main color that we want. But of course, you'll get the reflection of flowers of all different colors and so on, you know. But there's something about green, you know, on this plane of existence. And, you know, if you imagine that the earth was covered with trees on big foliage, obviously the sun would have been filtering all of that, and it would have made it more coherent, you know. As I say, that to make light coherent, you have to pass light through a slit, or more than one slit. The more slit, the more coherency, though you lose as well in other ways, but at least 1 or 2 slits will make it more coherent. Or if you have laser light, you know, And you can use any frequency of light in the spectrum, even like the invisible spectrum. This is how I think they're doing the directed energy weapons. With ultraviolet, that's why you can't really see. You see it, but you don't really see it because it's ultraviolet. And they probably also do it in the infrared range as well, that you really can't see, it's just, light is, obviously an important subject to study, and I've studied a little bit, quite a bit of it, for the device I'm building. So that I have built, it's almost there. It's just everything, one thing's after the other. Like I'm waiting for a dielectric mirror, but something went wrong with my details and I just can't change them. So I'm waiting for the company to be able to sort that out so I can get my dielectric mirror. And the other thing I'm still waiting for is fiber optics, but they have to be the right fiber optics. And I think I finally found them, So when I get that, that's it, my device will be up and running and be able to do some serious healing, yeah. All right then, lots of love, guys.